Hey, yo. Oh, yeah, I got to play around with the song, and I figured I was actually made that for Ben and the Man of War crew with the AI itself, of course. But I went through a bunch of renditions until I got them something because their social media needs help. Yeah, some of them can be quite good, but you have to get the right AI, and it's all in the training because I can't tell you how many songs I reject. Like, it's really just about producing as much as you can and throwing away anything. Like, people who think that work with AI is super easy would be wrong. It is not easy to get it to do exactly what you want. But what's up, Falcor? What's up, Jake? Joshua Marsh. Are you still paragliding, man? Yeah, there might be there's a couple of pieces of equipment for sure by Man of War on this list. For sure. Oh, that's me. And yeah, like I said, they definitely can be really good songs. What's up, Josh? Miss you too, man. I still think about that egg bake pretty often. What's up, Steven? Welcome. Oh yeah, just got a bigger motor. Dang, dude. Well, you have to fly up here and see if you can land in the field behind the warehouse at some point. See if you can make it all the way up here. You'd already made it to Chattanooga, didn't you? So, I'd say you could make it up, right? Mushroom egg bakes, man. There's nothing like a mushroom egg bake. Well, as you guys can tell, we're starting things off a little earlier than normal. I had some people asking me to switch up some times, so we're definitely gonna switch it up. Today we did the 10 a.m. Eastern thing, which means that like half my people out on the West Coast may not even be out of bed yet. It's like 7 a.m. out in California, I guess. But we'll see. Hopefully, maybe the people that are up getting ready for work or already at work can join in. I had some people in Europe and some other places asking me to do some shows at different times. So I feel a new AI use specialist careers are coming. I think, yes, that is absolutely the case. It's not really going to... AI is going to replace a lot of jobs, and then it's going to create some jobs. But, I don't know how many prompt engineers, like how long will that be a thing before the AI gets good enough that we don't have to worry about it? I missed Moonshiners. That is in Johnson City. What do you mean you missed it? Like, did you fly all the way to Johnson City? What's up, Rose? Welcome. Tyler, hey, man, things are well. Things are going very well. We're just, working the system. We're fighting, filling orders, and still getting all the experiments done. But it's a good one. It's a good life to have. Eric Aarons, morning, Andrew. We survived the storm down in St. Croix. Very nice, St. Croix. I'm glad you guys made it. I know I only recently heard about the storm. My parents are planning a beach trip at some point. I don't know what. And I think they were a little worried about the storm. But that's very different than living there. Oh, cool. That's somebody that was testing some Dr. Solarian's LC premix, letting me know that they said it seems like the grains are easier for them to break up after the grain spawn's growing in from it, so that's pretty slick. Guess I probably should let them know I'm on the live stream. But I'm glad you guys made it, Eric. It I don't know. I wonder what that would be like living life where there's hurricanes and stuff. Moonshiners is a fly-in, and I wasn't. Oh, okay, cool. Well, shoot. Again, you could still fly up here. We'd be closer, I think, than Johnson City by a good little ways. Can you fly and then like land near a gas station, get gas, and just keep hopping like that? Like, how long would it? Is there somebody that's already flown across the United States? Would that be something you could do? This would be great to wake up along with my coffee. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Rose. I'm not sure who wants to hear my voice at anything earlier than noon, but but I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it or are enjoying it. So, hold on, I got a cord wrapping around me. Let's see if I can move that cord. All right. Speaking of Dr. Slurians, should come with a label warning. Will grow very fast. Will be done in 2 weeks. Have your stuff ready. Yes, that actually. I've been discussing this. We might put a warning label on our Dr. Slurians because it's a high octane premix. That is for sure. It is not your typical slow growing mix. So. And then version 3, you guys haven't even got to try version 3. It's only myself and one other person's tried my Dr. Solarian's V3, and that stuff is even more insane. And I didn't know that it could be pushed any further, but it apparently can. So, yeah, a guy went from East Coast to West Coast and another Mexico to Canada, either gas stations or a chase vehicle. Okay. I mean, I would think that you would want a chase vehicle regardless, but it's good to know. I know you're the one that showed me that guy went through a drive-through or something, like went and landed and got breakfast and ate breakfast in the air. When V3 coming, what is culture cleanup mix? So the culture cleanup is under testing right now, and I don't have a good timeline on that. Man, this chair keeps rocking back, and I want it to stay. Why will you not stay? Because I was doing the wrong lever. That's why. There we go. Now I can lean back and not kick my chair back. The heck was that noise? So V3, I don't know when that'll be coming. That's going to be a while. It is, like I said, it's pretty insane. It may be more than the average cultivator needs. V3, I think, is going to be more along the lines because it's also designed to help produce secondary metabolites. So, which V2 was a little bit as well, and V2 is what we're currently selling. But V3 has it's a way more complex for you to make. It's got a lot more ingredients, and it is very good at producing pigments from spalting strains in the liquid culture. So we'll see when V3 comes out. That may be a release that only happens with like larger clients, or I don't really know what we're going to do yet. But the culture cleanup mix is working well so far. I've got a few more trials I want to do. I want to do some bacterial swabs to it, and what I really want is to have a strain that's put on there purposely contaminated to grow through. And I've had a couple of those going so far, but I want to. It needs to be a series of testing. But culture cleanup's coming up very soon, and then the V3. Yeah, so I answered both. Okay. What's up, Ogre? You have layers like an onion. AI is still very primitive and prone to some serious and repeated areas. Yeah, it is. It's improving fast though. It's improving very, very fast. I use AI every day at this point, primarily just as a research tool, help me pull things. You got to check its sources. You want to make sure that you're doing reading and that kind of stuff as well. But it's interesting. It's as a self-directed, like for someone like myself, who's a pretty autodidact, anyways, which means it's just a self-teacher. I find that AI it's just one of the best learning tools I've ever come across. It really helps me learn super quickly. Tornado will come in the night with no warning. Most storms we know about a week in advance. Blue waters for days makes it. I bet that's the big thing. The fishing. I've heard the fishing down there is incredible. I love seafood. Seafood is my favorite food, particularly if it comes in a shell. Any sort of shell creature like mollusks, clams, mussels. Um, goodness, crab, shrimp, lobster, all that stuff, of course. But even some of the stuff a lot of people don't like geoduck and stuff. But I'm the sunshine I could do without, but the water I could definitely do. My connection is horrible here, but I really wanted to catch this one. Well, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you came on. Hopefully your connection cleans up a little bit throughout the the couple of hours we're on. Curious how the LC mix works with them other mushrooms. Well, so the person that messaged me actually was someone that's exactly what they're testing for me, because I don't grow those. So I needed someone who could grow it. So they've been testing that out for me right now. And I actually have a block premix powder I'm working on. So Jake, you were asking about the other stuff, but a lot of people don't know that I've got a block premix that is specifically for extracts is what I'm working on, but should work on the production of secondary metabolites in block production. So for sillies, it should be even better for sillies. We'll see how that goes. I also am not sure how to advertise that. I mean, to be fair, it's not illegal to sell powder, so I don't know. Oh yeah, I've ate breakfast in the air. Ooh, nice. See, I would just too many hobbies though, man. Too many. Well, I missed something. You're making a medium that will help with cleanup. Yeah, absolutely. I posted it on Instagram. I haven't really advertised it a lot. It's a black agar, so charcoal as the base. It is a very deep void black, and the mycelium that grows on it's very light, because in essence it's very similar to water agar, except that instead of like water agar, we just have water and agar. This has activated charcoal and some other ingredients that are self-selective substrates made for mycelium to be able to break apart and eat, but for bacteria to basically just be starved to death and allow you to get your cultures clean a lot easier. So, hey Flavio, how are you doing? Is the real question. Because I'm doing fine. Is the agar premix also comparable to Dr. Slarian's? Also, how goes progress? Oh, with the block premix, you did. Okay, you did know. So the agar premix is very comparable. It grows quite well, quite quickly. I have, in fact, I'm running to my plates. I'm like, man, I might have to back some of this stuff off. But it is very comparable. The spore kindler formula, you mean? It's another high octane one. My pigment plates are, I'm using spalting strains as visual indicators, because spalt is a secondary metabolite enzymatic pathway. And what I'm trying to do with these mixes is learn how to activate them on and off and that kind of thing. So suppress them or encourage them. And so the spore kindler, you can see it on plates. Like my xylaria plates will just stain completely black very quickly. And so the block premix is very similar, except that it has a different carrier and a buffer and some other things added to it. And of course, in different quantities. So, but it'd basically be as easy as add a tablespoon to a 5-pound bag, a couple tablespoons to a 10-pound bag, and the idea that we're trying to test right now is that it will, for the psilocybin, for instance, it would be that it can increase production and make your blocks more efficient. For spalt, it would produce more. For lion's mane, reishi, cordyceps, even we're going to trial, though I need to get a cordyceps strain in and start growing some so I can send that off for testing. Myco Nerd, what's up, Andrew? Working today, but I'll be catching up later. Thanks for all the valuable knowledge you share. Thank you, man. Absolutely. And please do come back. hopefully being early is not a problem for everybody. You're very welcome, Stephen. Op got flooded with stinky, dirty rainwater. Was thinking of using Q-So4 for cleanup. Commonly uses antifungals. I'm very careful with antifungals in my lab. One time I used a antifungal paint, and it the fumes off of it seemed like it kept anything in my room from growing. So after we stripped it and then repainted, all of a sudden stuff worked again. So I'm just always very careful with specifically antifungal things. Well, workers call my name. Glad to see you again. I miss y'all, and I need to take a trip to see y'all. You do need to take one. Hope you're not already gone, so you can see me say goodbye. But hopefully, man, you'll be back around a lot more. We will during our October get together. We are. I need to make the announcement for the October get together up here. We're gonna try to keep it small this year and catered, so I'm going to need people to chip in. So I got to do some planning. Mushroom compost, could it be used to grow dung-loving or actives? Looking forward to trying new premix. Yeah, as far as I know, compost can be used to grow a lot of the dung lovers. Oh man, what do they call that? There's a specific style of farming, cereal something. But basically, you go through, you do a primary decomposer like oysters. Maybe another one like shiitake after that will break down things a little bit further. And then you got like a tertiary, like which might be like portobello or, a dung lover or something like that. So it's rad, man. Can't wait to check that out. Yeah, absolutely. I'll make sure to have it all announced when it goes live. It'll be much sooner for the culture cleanup, and then the block premix will be shortly after that. And then I have a couple more premixes that I'm working on. So just trying to hit the whole gamut. I'm just nutrition is interesting because I feel like nutrition. There's a lot of people that pay a lot of attention to it, but not in. I don't know how to explain it. Like I don't really see people approaching it this way very often, and it can make I'm seeing it make a big difference. So. Which makes sense to me. I mean, when I worked at the fish hatchery, that was the thing was that, you can have the best genetics in the world, but if you don't give them proper nutrition, they can't fully express those genetics. So, because what a phenotype is genetics meets environment, right? The expression of genetics meets environment. So, you can have great genetics, and that might do more with less than what bad genetics will. But you'll never see the full expression of genetics without proper nutrition. So that's one of the reasons why I get so excited about this. Have you tried copper for any of your mixes? Seems a lot of the white rots use copper peroxidases. I actually do use copper in some of my premixes. Absolutely. It's absolutely useful but it's a stressor. You have to be really careful with copper because copper, Jake, is... Copper in even small amounts to mushrooms can be toxic. So if you're going to use copper in any formula or whatever, you have to be very, very, very careful about how much you add. So it's one of those that I've used and I've played around with in premixes, but I'm always afraid to sell to people because what if they double up or something like that and kill their stuff? Just got your smokehouse pink. Oh, dude, I love that strain. It's not as pretty pink, but it's got the flavor. It's definitely got the flavor. Pug AI, morning. I forgot, are you an AI or are you not an AI? Or are you the AI that lies to me about being an AI? Does Spore Killer work for no pour? What amount do you recommend? I would have to go back and look at my no pour recipe. It will work for no pour. But to tell you the truth, the amount I can't remember. It's not going to be a lot. It's going to be a very, very small amount. And I cannot remember the ratio. I'm going to have to look at my notes because it's probably been 1.5 to 2 years since I've done any no pour dishes. Which you guys will see why here in a little bit. I'm interested in getting some of your charcoal water agar mix or plates. Yeah. So Rose, we'll have that premix up fairly soon because it's working really well in tests. But the what was the other part? The plates. We're actually about to start offering pre-pour plates. We think that's something we've been talking about for a little while. We haven't been doing pre-pours, but the people are so interested in the premixes that we're selling. But some people are very interested in the nutritional value, but they don't pour their own plates anyways. So they are wanting us to do it. So we might do pre-pour plates of any of our recipes. For commercial production, which would you recommend from Wampus Tongue versus Smokehouse? For commercial production, probably Wampus Tongue. Not because Smokehouse is bad, but just because the Wampus Tongue is so bright pink that it's more eye catching, and eye catching sells better than better flavor to the restaurants and stuff. Now, if you're doing markets, I think having both is really, really good, and even doing a mixed basket of both is a good way to go. So it kind of depends on what your market is, but restaurant-wise, usually, unless you've got a chef who is willing to take a more drab pink, but typically when they want pink, they want the bright color. So that's usually the one I would go with. So, oh man, you got a lot of I do have a lot of projects going on. Interestingly enough, like right now, I've got the black soldier fly larva farm going full tilt. I can just reach into that composter and just gently scrape, and I would just have a hand of just wriggling, writhing life. And I'm about to start. I need to get some cordyceps genetics, probably from. I've heard. So I've bought from terrestrial fungi before, so I'll probably get from Ryan. Appalachian Gold, so Jeff Maginero. I hope I said his name right, his last name. I'm going to try my hand at breeding some strains and just see if I can do it. But I have an endless supply of black soldier fly larvae that I'm going to start banking for the winter time. And then I'll have plenty of cordyceps to work with. And then I just got to get the genetics. Somebody's told me, there was somebody else that was telling me about someone who sells really good cordyceps varieties, but I can't remember who they mentioned. So I've got that project going. We've got the plant project going. I've got a lot of stuff going. But the cool thing is that I'm getting better at organizing, and Samantha is helping me get better at organizing. But the AI as well. I'm using the AI as like a personal assistant. And what's cool about Google Gemini's AI is that I can plug that into my email and my Google Calendar, like on my phone. And so I can literally just press a button, hey, blah, 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 add this, and then it'll pop up on my calendar. So like I'm able to just track stuff better, which means I'm able to do more. But we've simplified our order fulfillment so that it takes way less time to do order fulfillment. And then we're simplifying our product line even further. So let's see. Selling a ton of King Blues at the market today. Spawn worked like a charm. Gracias. Heck yeah, BC. I'm glad to hear it. That makes me happy. I was thinking about this, like how much I miss being part of the local food economy. And then I have to remind myself that I still am a part of the local food economy. I may be supplying on a more, heck, global sometimes, but more of a nationwide side of things. But that still goes to feed people in their local environments. It's the Spawn helps you to produce food right there where it's freshest for people. So thank you for sharing that, because it really does make me happy. Because I really have missing being part of the local food economy. So much so that we're actually talking about opening a farm stand here. And as this coming spring, we're planning on turning this front parking lot into a aquatics plant nursery. So to start selling stuff again. And I'm doing a lot of aquatic food crops, but also a lot of flowers. Yeah, I read that. I don't care if it's gray and brown. I want to chase that bacon flavor. Yeah, well, it's the way I always try to. I was so disappointed with every pink I tried until I got to that one. And then I was like, oh my gosh, it's possible. But I want you to not expect ham and bacon. And then when it hits you, it's like, oh, now I can get the ham and bacon. It's not going to be a 1-for-1 bacon to bacon. However, cooking it in bacon grease really helps. That said, no, that oyster really does have like the most ham-like. I'm trying to think of what do you call them? Like those spiral cuts, that you'll do like you'll bake for Thanksgiving, Easter, whatever. Um, the I just realized that my family always eats ham on Easter, but well, I guess Easter's not a Jewish holiday. So it's okay to eat ham, right? Anyway, it's not Passover. But anyways, yeah, it's almost like a spiral cut ham in my opinion, in texture, and then the flavor. It's still going to be mushroomy. Like no matter what you do with mushrooms, it's always going to have a mushroomy flavor, but it'll be a mushroom flavor with that is more ham-like, or more bacon-like, or however you cook it. Will depend on how it tastes. Can I get my sandal back on? Gaston, love your work, bro. Thank you very much. And if that's your beard, I love your beard. Holy crap, that's beautiful. Exception. Hey man, what's going on? Good morning, Andrew. Working, but stopping in to say hello and trying to listen. Well, dude, I hope you get to stay with us for a little while. I know everybody's working. We'll do another live stream, of course, next week, back at a later time. But I'm going to try to at least do one a month that's early for some of the people that are trying to get in early, which Ian the Bastard's not been on yet. So Jeff never corrected you. See, you had the same worry before. I never know. Well, and Jeff and I've never talked like audio to audio. We've only talked via email and text. And it's usually when I like one time it was literally just to say, hey, the next time you tell people about my strains, can you warn me first so that I can have a warning for all the people that come by it. What is typical weight for Mossy Creek oyster? It's just under 2 pounds off a 10 to 12 pound block. So, hey, my soon-to-be daughter-in-law is learning to drive the forklift. It looks like that's cool. But yeah, I think it's just a little bit under 2 pounds. It's a very voluminous oyster, but it's very light, which is probably why it's got such an amazing texture. So you are helping feed the food economy here in tons, dude. I appreciate that. Yeah, and it's kind of cool. Like looking at my career as a commercial mushroom grower. I sit down and calculated it out at one point, and I was like, dude, I cannot believe how many approximate meals I have provided through this farm. Over a period of like, what was it, 2013 to 2023? I mean, how many meals did I provide? So it was pretty cool to think about. Well, I'm decent at cooking mushrooms up, bacon, like, so I'm excited. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. You're already good at it. So, yeah, please let me know how it goes. Come back. If you're disappointed, even let me know so I can improve the strain. Like, I'd be very interested. I want to hear it all, good and bad. Yeah, different audience attending live from time to time is a good thing. That's what I was thinking, is that it helps to get certain people in and out that may not be able to, but I'll tell you what, and in either way, admittedly, I know a lot of people don't like AI, so I probably shoot myself in the foot a lot by talking about it, but I use Opus Clip, and Opus Clip is connected to my YouTube account, so when this goes into a video, it will automatically pull that into Opus Clip, and it will automatically cut it into those shorts for me, and then I sit down and I schedule those out, and so from like last week's live stream, I got maybe like a month and a half worth of video shorts cut out of that automatically, and then I'm able to schedule those to post every other day. So it was like for a month and a half, every other day I've got content. So it's super cool. Let's see. I tell you what, guys, we are already 30 minutes in, so I want us to get started on equipment. So let me get one of these pulled up. Oh, that's right. I forgot how to do this, but I remember now. So we'll play this video. and then I will come back and we can talk about it, and I can answer questions. You guys can keep asking questions and doing whatever you want. This will take about 4 minutes or so. As soon as I can find it. And I need to make sure I get it added to stage. Wait, there's no sound? Really? So I'm just sitting there showing a video? Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. We had this problem before. This is stupid. It's absolutely stupid. It's supposed to have sound and everything. Well, I apologize. I should not have had that play for so long. It's super easy to move around. No audio from the video. Yeah. Well, they didn't hear. I muted us, so they didn't hear our conversation. But Samantha and I were talking, and it would have been embarrassing if you guys heard that. That's for sure. Don't you worry, Samantha. I got you. Okay. Let's remove this. We're going to try this again. Okay, you guys should still be able to hear me. I'm going to share screen, stop screen, share screen. Okay. Okay. Now it should be playing, but I'm not seeing sound on it either. Still no video sound. This is really, really annoying. I'm trying to remember how we fixed this last time, guys. Well, again, I had stuff completely ready for this, and then now we're having the same issue. This is really, really annoying. Falcor, yeah, it's not heavy at all to move. Why? I did upload it first. There's another way to do this that I remember we did last time. So let me try this again one more time. If it doesn't work, we'll move on. But I think I have it figured out now. So I just need to find. All right, here we go. Tell me if you don't hear it again, please. All right, so I am over here on the Man of War side, and I just wanted to come check out the baggers. They have a new frame they're working on, and it looks really nice. Good cross bracing, pressurized water system, color coded air lines for the knife valves and the pneumatics. I like the little details of the logos in different places. New controller box, which is custom 3D printed to hold everything, including quick reference guide. Again, got a little ghost logo, Man of War for the Thor bagger, fiberglass construction, steel frame, water system now nestles in quite nicely to the back. You have your divider so that you have two hoppers, as always. And this is where they're being manufactured now. was kind of hoping we'd see one getting ready to ship. This one's about ready to have its water system added on. This is the exact same air compressor I run mine off of. Fairly affordable air compressor considering. And then mine's not color coded, but I like these so that you know exactly where each goes. But they're looking really slick these days. See if I can get a nice panning shot. And then, of course, frame kit here. I don't know where the extension is. You got the 3D printed cones. Hey Ben, where's the leg extension kit?
Over here.
Say it again.
These are the ones that are earmarked for that system.
These right here? Okay.
Yeah.
And so these are the leg extensions, and they go just right here. You loosen that, pop this bad boy on, and it's now a standing bagger rather than, right now it's at the sitting height. Fits through a basement residential door, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
30-inch.
So it fits through a 30-inch door, so all you basement dwellers can use these. Of course, it is shoulder height, so you can load it while it's here.
32. It might be 32.
Might be 32.
Yeah.
And then you have the vacuum lifts if you want to put it at standing height, which I don't know where the vacuum lifts are here, but...
Up there.
Oh.
On the shelf.
Oh, they're up there. So you have these vacuum lifts that we use on our bagger for the standing height, so that you can put a container down by the side or a pallet, like it's a super sack. You can put it on either side of the bagger, and then that'll be, you know, much higher, and you'll be able to just use the vacuums to fill your hoppers while you're working. So, I mean, this right now, this is just tall enough that like I myself or even Samantha can load this just by having a bag on her shoulder. The vacuum lifts are noisy, but they make the work easier, and they keep it topped off while you're running. And of course, again, that you can just put like a super sack of soy, super sack of hardwood fuel pellets. It loads both. You get your pressurized water system, which actually is nice because when it dumps the pellets at the same time as the water, it'll kick it and it actually auto mixes everything up. So for those of you who like your stuff mixed, it doesn't mix it perfectly, but it'll do a much better job mixing all that stuff together with that pressurized water system that we have now. So there we go. This is the Thor manufacturing area. It's looking pretty good. All right, so there we go. It worked. Hooray! I've got it figured out again. Let's see if it sticks this time, because it was way simpler than what I thought it should be. I feel called out low in the basement dweller. Hey, I was in the basement dwellers category for years. In fact, I should have stayed in the basement for a little longer than what I did. I feel like. Samantha and I feel like we probably should have done that because it was easy living compared to the move. But then all of this wouldn't exist. It's true. But those first 2 or 3 years in this warehouse, that was a hard transition. I mean, we struggled. Yeah, we definitely struggled. And then going to the supply side of things, we definitely struggled. But all right, let me go way back because it mixed into the silent films throwback audio. God. Oh, man. Oh, and it's our old-timey piano. I should... Man, you guys were roasting me, and I had no idea. And when you talk about no more poop timers, all of those were still poop timers. Indeed, it is my beard. Thanks. Yeah, dude, man, that is a gorgeous beard. Look at that beard, Samantha. Can you see that beard? Pooping pellets since 2020. That is a fantastic beard. It's one of the. It's like that blondie kind of beard that I've always been jealous of because I've just got like the mouse nest beard. I like to sweat out the water on an empty pan until it lightly browns a little, kind of dryish, then add the oil of choice so it drinks it up good and cooks like meat with. Yes, that is exactly the way I do it. That's exactly the way I cook it. I've seen those shorts. It does a good job saving you some time. It does, absolutely. And I mean, not every short's perfect, right? Some of them are more are better than others, and some it doesn't get always the transcription correct, especially with mushroom stuff and when the accent comes out, that kind of thing. But the AI does a good job of that. Running Fat Man's again. I think the strain needs a little love. I'm trying to cold shock. If I can get incubation consistent, I can run it commercially. It grows quicker than LBP. What? Quicker than LBP? You're doing something different than me because my little boy poplar always grows way faster than my Fat Man. Fat Man is one that I'm still trying to work out, though I finally have spores and I finally have strains. Fat Man 3 is looking fairly promising so far. Have you ever tried lion's mane on straw? Yes. And straw pellets, it worked actually okay, but Hericium seems to like to struggle. In fact, I've noticed that if I lower my supplementation rates on Hericium, I usually get better harvests, which is weird. Like you would think more nutrition means more yield, but not necessarily. And how heavy is Thor? Is it a pain to move around? Hopefully you saw in the video. I don't remember if I actually did like show, like you can just push it around, but I have other videos that I'm going to be using for, I'm going to try to help Ben with their advertising and marketing and stuff, but and their social media presence. But you can grab the thing, you flip the lock on the bottom, and I can push it one-handed even when it's full, even when the hoppers are full. So it's super light. It's like watching a video public without the headphones. I'd be keen to create one of these in South Africa where I'm growing. I think they will ship. I know that they've shipped Thors to Australia, and I think that they've shipped South Africa. So you might be able to get one shipped there. They also have a kit that you can order, and the kit will ship a lot easier. And then you have to build the wooden frame or hoppers or figure out a way to do it yourself, though they have instructions on how to do that. And they may be looking for someone, if you're looking to sell these, they might be looking for someone to help resell. Like if you bought the kits and then maybe manufactured you should talk to them. Man of War or Man of War Innovations is who manufactures them. Mushroom Media Online is who distributes them. Yeah, it's a way that you upload. Apparently, that upload was not a good way to go. So, but it actually it does mean so that I can go ahead and get the next one put up. What is the next one? I think we'll go with the shaker. And yeah, there we go. So that's uploading. That's so cool now that I can actually do it that way. So Thors are amazing. Not only makes commercial production of blocks possible, makes sealing of said amount easier since no dust, meal, sawdust particles. Yes, I would 100% agree. The sealing is so much easier with that. Don't worry, we didn't hear your private convo. Good. Thank you. Yeah, Ben's done a lot of good work on that. Ben really takes into a lot of design factors that a lot of other mushroom equipment producers just don't even think of. They're like, I want to build the best piece of equipment, so they build it expensive, and they build it well, a lot of them, but they build this expensive piece of equipment that is out of the reach of most farmers. And most farmers are like me, they're getting started or they're bootstrapping or whatever. A lot of these guys aren't guys who start off wealthy. They're using mushrooms to help build wealth. So, and Ben realizes that, and Ben realizes that they're going to be putting baggers in weird places. So he's made it as easy to move, as easy to load, as easy to get through doors as possible. So yeah, like I love the way his brain works. And the 3D print farm over there just is mesmerizing. So video sound, the nemesis of mushroom cast. Oh yeah, I have an enemy now. Help! I have bagger envy. If you already have a bagger, You don't need to be envious. Plus, if you're doing ready to fruit blocks, you don't need a bagger. I feel called out. Yeah, the basement. Like I said, it's okay. I wonder what crazy mushroom op custom shelves can come up with. What do you mean? Is there what crazy mushroom op custom shelves can come up with? You're gonna have to. I don't know. I'm not sure. Best to write down the solution so if it comes up again, you are absolutely correct. Um, you are absolutely correct. Video sound. I like the way you think. Upload this way. Cool. I like the way you think. I'm working on basement setup. That seems best place to start. I think it's the best place to start. If you can start in your basement, do it. Um, we're soon reaching the day, I think, when there's going to start being some sort of legislation on these small boutique farms. But the basement is the best place to do it now, and I don't think that legislation is coming up soon just yet. So if it wasn't perfect enough, superheated water for the water pump. So there are ways to heat the water or use hot water. I'm familiar that there are people doing it, but I don't know at what point they're putting it in. And I assume it's just an instant hot water heater in line. But do you recommend doing moisture content testing on dry substrate ingredients and factoring that into your goal hydration level, or do you think that's negligible? We were discussing in the Discord. So for pellets, I don't think it's necessary for the vast majority of the time. If in doubt, test it out. But other than that, I think that pellets are usually the production process keeps them dry enough. So as long as they've been stored somewhere, you don't. Pellets as they get wet tend to expand. So if you see some expansion, you can test that. But pellets, one of the things I like about pellets is it removed the vast majority of testing I had to do. I only had to test on loose bulk substrates that I was getting and mixing by hand. And honestly, even though pellets cost something, they cost way less than my labor. So, hello from Italy. Well, hello. Big fan of Mossy Creek, and especially of big fan of Mossy Creek, and especially spit in the bucket method. Good. I'm glad. That was literally just to show people that you didn't have to be all that cautious. Like you can grow mushrooms without having to be like, not every process has to be the most sterile process. Once you sterilize something, then you have to be careful. There's no spitting in the spawn bag, right? But also, I enjoyed the fermentation aspect. I stopped doing that because when we started selling spawn, people complained that our spawn would have a fermented apples smell or might smell a little bit, and that was from all the yeast dying off in the fermentation. So we stopped that just because we didn't want people thinking that they smelled contamination, therefore there would be. So that's why. But I will say I loved using the Thor and getting to see it in action during mentorship. Simple and practical. New design is very sleek. Yeah, it's how the new design is crazy, and it brings it more in house. So they had been having other people fabricate different sections, and this brings one more piece, the frame, back in house and allows them to have the quality control over it. And that's what they were worried about, was that other fabricator was not providing the quality control they wanted. Mr. Sky Observer, would you recommend me such equipment? I work with straw and sawdust, no pellets. Was thinking to buy an industrial mixer and bagging machine. The Chinese ones are not convincing me. Any thoughts? If you have access to pellets, the straw, sawdust, whatever, I would just buy the pellets and I would use the bagger. Mixing, even in the big mixers, even when it's slightly convenient, takes longer. Like I can walk out these doors right here, turn on my air compressor, turn on the water valve, turn on the vacuums, and start bagging. Like I don't have to mix, I don't have to wet, I don't have to do moisture content testing, I don't have to have the little sprayers that add water slowly through the mix cycle. I don't have to do any of that work. What? Yes, we do have a production live stream where I'm running the live stream while Samantha and Charles are doing the bagging. And so it's a great way to see how it works. But whatever money you're saving on substrate, you will save on labor with that machine by switching to pellets. Um, and as we all know, labor is the highest cost thing, not substrate in mushrooms. So free, like my big thing is free is never free. That kind of thing. So that's what I would consider that. I used to stream gaming, so when I had issues, I wrote down the solutions when I figured the solution out. That's a great idea, and I've been thinking about starting to stream. So usually, like right now, I would be playing Helldivers probably or Battlefield 6. No, the beta's over. I'd be playing Helldivers with Foxy right now, who runs Xperi Myco, also known as what can't be Black Mold Rising, something lightning, Black Lightning or something. Anyways, um, you can absolutely stream our Mush Bros sessions where we go in and play. So we're thinking about doing a channel where we start streaming to that, just for fun because we do it every day anyways. So we might as well stream it. I meant Ben can come up with for Mushroom Up custom shelves. Gotcha. Okay. I don't know that Ben would want to. I think as far as that goes, like we'll see here in a minute. But the rolling rack is one of my pieces of equipment that I just cannot do without. So we'll see that in a little bit. But the rolling rack is it's about as perfect as it can be. I feel like. Huh? Yeah, straight out of the box. Straight out of the box. Put it together. Throw the wheels on it. Go. And if the nice expensive casters, like I can grab a full rack and just push it around. Once your casters start going bad, that sucks because then you got to replace them. I got about half my fleet of rolling racks right now. I've got to replace casters on, but we will. So they are not flexible, working just with one type of bag. No, yeah. So like Thor, because you have the volumetric, which is what I use, but you also have the timer based valves, which is what I was showing I think in the video, and there is I can do I've done cups, like deli cups, 32-ounce deli cup containers, which takes about a pound of substrate, and I've done 17-pound bags. And I've done it all with Thor just by changing the numbers. You can literally, and then if you get stuff dialed in and you're using pellets and pellets are fairly consistent, you can just literally have your recipes written there on your control box or posted, and then you can just change over, and a changeover could be 5 minutes. Like I've literally to go down to the 1-pound bags, I had to change my pressure regulator. But what I did was I just swapped it out for another pressure regulator on the water system, tuned that one, and then put them on quick connects so that if I want to go from a 10-pound bag to a 1-pound bag or 1-pound cup, I can literally just pop it off, pop the other one on, and then no, I don't even have to change much of the timer based on that. So I think it's the best bagger on the market. It is the fastest bagger on the market, and it's very consistent with a tiny little bit of fluctuation. The most accurate bagger on the market is gonna be the Fenrir, but I don't understand that accuracy for that amount of money on that slow of a system. Whenever I can just, by not worrying about it, my substrate fluctuating an ounce or two, I can just hammer bags out. So we use an inline hot water heater for our bulk substrate and grain sucks. Yeah, I got one a propane unit, hook it up for a shower. That same unit can be used to make hot water for grain in the wintertime. It can, like, I could easily plug it up inline to Thor if I wanted to. Like it's, I love the inline hot water heaters. What's up, Eeyore? Hi, Andrew. It's great to see you. How are you feeling now? Much better than I had been. That's for sure. I'm feeling really well these days, actually. So, I still struggle with the occasional sickness, but the inflammatory attack, that kind of thing. But it's getting better and better. One of the big things, I just found out that recently my grandfather, who had really bad inflammation starting in his 30s, really, enough that he had to go live at a specialist place for a while they try to figure it out. Found out he took magnesium every day. And so he had crippling inflammation in his 30s, which mine was getting pretty bad, and I'm in my 30s, barely. And but as I remember growing up with him, I spent all kinds of time with him, and I don't remember him being crippled. Quite the opposite. And I was asking my nana, and my mother told me that he took magnesium every day. So I started taking magnesium, and the first day I took it, about 40 minutes into it, I stood up out of my chair, started walking, and was like, "Oh, there's no pain, or at least the pain is really reduced. Like, what's going on?" And then I forgot to take my magnesium for a few days. After taking it for a few days, and started having pain again. So, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good nowadays, and I'm getting some stuff figured out on what is helping with the inflammation and whatnot. So, it's interesting that just a simple magnesium could help so much. We'll be showing the bag cracker. No, I don't have it hooked up. Actually, the bag cracker is right there. Um, I don't have it hooked up right now. I don't have a good access to pneumatics in my lab right now, the way we change things up. It's really annoying to run the pneumatic. I want the bag cracker, but I would like an electric model, or I need to plumb in some air to my, because I'm not working with an air compressor right next to me. I hate that is um, that is hellishness to me. I hate that noise. Plus, I can't hear my music when I work that way. But the bag cracker is awesome, and the bag cracker paired with the peristaltic pump is something that I'm actually trying. I've actually Ben is working on, but I've asked Ben to work on, um, so that we can crack a bag and dose liquid culture at the same foot stroke. So it's not like I want to do only inoculated blocks. We'll be using revenue to build my lab back up. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a great bagger. So if you're gonna need a bagger, that is the one I would suggest. It is A, the fastest bagger on the market, B, one of the most affordable bagger on the market, and C, it is a consistent bagger. So have you tried bottle culture with Thor? I have done the cups, the deli cups, that I was talking about a minute ago. Um, so I know that I could do bottle culture because the bottles, I've forgotten. I sit there and looked at them. The 32-ounce deli cups are about the same as the bottles they grow like enoki and stuff in. It's about the same amount of substrate that I get, about a pound. So it's interesting, but I would join you for Helldivers. But yeah, I would make you unstoppable. Don't know if the new Battlefield is worth 7. Yeah, that's the thing. Is like it just felt like I was playing the beta, and it just felt like Call of Duty. Like um, it just felt super fast paced, and I'm like, what happened? One of the things I liked about the older Battlefield was that you could take your time. If you wanted to snipe or you wanted to, like, it was not just rushing headlong into each other, dying, immediately reviving, and going again, 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 again. Like, you could last a while, sneak. The I don't know. It's just changed. It's got like, don't get me wrong, like Titanfall is like my favorite game of all time, and that is super super fun. But it is incredibly fast paced, but it's at least they had like a flow mechanic to it, whereas I feel like this one does not have that flow mechanic. So that said, yeah, you can join us on Helldivers. I'm Magpie, and Foxy is literally just Foxy. So I know to get the friend tag, we'll have to actually get the stuff, but you can always email me at mossycreekmushrooms@gmail.com, and I can get you my gamer tag. We love playing with mushroom people. So, dude, what's your gamer tag? I want to jam some BF6 when it's out. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, just email me and I'll get you my Steam handle. Yeah, so yes, I definitely have bagger envy. Hey, Adrian, what's going on? Hey, Adrian. Uh, Unfortunately, I'm in the middle of a farm that produces grains and have a lot of woods, and everything is certified organic. I'm trying to be off grid, so I guess that I need to buy a pelletizer. Oh no, if that's the case, the Thor bagger may not be for you. If you're in a situation where you legitimately have reasons like that circumvent access, right? Like people on an island don't always need Thor, like Puerto Rico and stuff like that. Not saying they can't do Thor, but they have to import pellets, and so a cheap pelletizer you're going to lose you're going to lose your ass on. So I wouldn't do that. I would get I would, in that case, I would go with the mixer. If you're going to be dealing with a variety of substrates, just do your moisture content testing, that kind of stuff. Pellets may not be the way to go. Wow, that's rude. watching videos at full volume next to me. She's as red as a lobster. uh, Josiah's backcracker seemed cool. Oh, so did you see his backcracker? That's the one that's the one that Ben produces. Backcracker run by a power drill. Interesting, but it needs to be foot pedal operated. Whatever it is, and at least the pneumatic one is foot pedal operated. You better get on. Battlefield 1 is still my favorite. Yeah, I don't even remember, but I have great memories of playing that, but I don't even remember the differences, honestly. But I remember that, so 2004, I went to college. There used to be a, oh shoot, what they call it? Like these businesses where you could go and they had all the computers set up for LAN parties and stuff. And we used to go play. My holes are not in pellet form, and Thor works great for me. Only drawback, I need a booster pump for my cistern pump. Water pressure regulator set to 28 psi. It takes about. Oh, okay. So you're one of those that Ben's talked about where you have to have the booster pumps. Gotcha. Yeah, like people on wells and stuff. Sometimes they have to have that. But it's good to know that your holes are not in pellet form and Thor still works. So maybe that would work for Mr. Sky Observer up there. Seems like I keep missing your live, so I've been watching on replay. Well, I'm glad that you are at least getting the access to them on replay. But and I'm trying to, like, again, I'll be doing one every week on Thursday. It's gonna be Thursday every time, but it'll be Thursday morning, Thursday evening, depending on the week. So again, what are you doing? Turn the volume down. I can hear it through my headphones. Don't mute it. Turn it down. Turn it down. The foot pedal one with braking sides. I thought Man of War punches it. The foot pedal one with braking from sides. What do you mean braking from sides? That's the Man of War. Well, let me get this. I'm gonna have to take my headset off. But give me a second, and I'll grab it. I'll grab the backcracker. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Introducing the future of mycology, Dr. Silurian's Elixir of Mycelial Mastery. This isn't your average culture mix, it's a revolution in a packet, crafted for the dedicated cultivator seeking unparalleled growth. Experience the visual alchemy of this masterful brew. As you mix 10 grams with 500 milliliters of water, watch the solution transform into a rich, amber spectacle, the hallmark of a nutrient-dense sanctuary for your burgeoning mycelium. This is where vibrant color meets vibrant life, setting our elixir apart from the ordinary clear liquid cultures. Prepare to be captivated. Mix 10 grams of Dr. Silurian's elixir with 500 milliliters of water, add a stir bar for thorough integration, and sterilize the blend at 15 psi for 45 minutes. Once cooled, introduce your favorite culture into this perfectly prepared, nutrient-rich environment. Watch in awe as the elixir works its magic, unveiling a mycelial masterpiece before your eyes. Choose Dr. Silurian's Elixir of Mycelial Mastery for a mycological adventure that's as visually enchanting as it is potent.
All right, so this is our backcracker from the Man of War crew. A little dirty where it's been sitting on the floor. So you can see it's got the valves, foot pedal, and then it's got just a stop here. And what it does is it press the foot pedal and that slides forward and it just squeezes the block from the sides. So is that what you meant, Jacob? Like this, like it breaks it and just cracks it. As they call it, the Kraken. Which I liked. I thought that was a good name for it. How's the pink oyster experiment going? The pink oyster experiment's going well so far. If that you mean the breeding program, it's going well. I've got it's going to be a little bit before it hits the grow room. So the Golds are currently in the grow room right now for the gold breeding. I have the Mossy Creek oyster breeding series going in next. I'm about this week I'll be putting reishi spores to the starting the reishi breeding program. So with the spores that I've got, and then I've got maybe another 12 strains or so in master right now. That'll be expanded out in a week or so, and then headed to the grow room. So we've got a lot of reishi breeding and stuff that we're doing. And again, so I haven't really told a ton of people this, but we're moving because of the way we're simplifying and stuff. I am moving more and more and more into providing cultures for the medicinal side of things. I'm still going to be doing gourmet. My strains that I still have are still going to be there. But the breeding program will probably be focused more and more on hericiums right now. I've got to get hericiums out because I have probably the largest hericium library of any guy you guys know in the space. Like, I have a huge hericium library with a variety of strains I'd like to get out there. So that's something that I'll be working on next week, probably. The next week is a mentorship week, so we'll see. But then we're going to be doing hericium, reishi, turkey tail, and cordyceps. That'll be the next phase, is providing starts for that, and then producing those here in our own lab. But yeah, that's what we're working on that. And then of course we do have some oysters and stuff, but that'll be slowed down quite a bit for the moment. Have you ever tried growing or crossbreeding these species, Pleurotus ferulae or Pleurotus nebrodensis? I have grown both. I have not tried crossing or breeding with them. I grew them back before I even started mushroom breeding at all. So need to wipe the bag to get the bag to seal from the dust. You go with your Thor? Yeah, if you hold it up a little higher on the cone, we found that we don't have to wipe the bags anymore. That's good. Oh, the bag cracker, yeah. Every good culture I buy seems to be really prone to contamination here. Interesting. Adrian, where are you? Where is here? Oh, every gold culture I buy seems to be really prone to contamination here. Where is here? Let me know. Does it overextend and break the bottom of the bag? Not that I've seen. Not that I've seen it. The extension is that extension I did is the full extension of it. It does not. It actually only goes enough. Like, I don't even know. I don't think I could crack a 5-pound bag in that. So, if you have a weak strain, slow colonization, poor fruiting, etc., do you think it's worth breeding it from its own spores, or is it better to retire that genetic line? I would. So again, it would depend. My answer is always going to be it depends. If for some reason you have poor access to strains, and this is the only one of its kind that you have, then I would probably instead of trying to retrain that strain, I would probably try to spore print it. But I would probably try outcrossing it because you'll get vigor with outcrossing. A lot of people don't realize this. They think that just because you can breed a mushroom to itself, that means it's just going to be fine if you keep breeding that way forever. Mushrooms will suffer inbreeding depression. Granted, it's less of an inbreeding depression than like mammals or something have, but you still get inbreeding depression. But if you outcross it, that's one of the reasons why so many of my strains have so much vigor, is because they're just outcrosses. I simply just crossed them out. Now, granted, not every outcross is going to be a good strain or whatever, but if you do a few of those and then you outcross it to another oyster mushroom strain, then you have a good chance of getting better production, better yield, better growth, etc. Also, which of the Mossy Creek lion's mane on the site right now would you recommend as kind of a default go-to? To me is always Tribbles, because Tribbles is a really good gourmet mushroom. And it's bred to be, it's the first in our series of the extract line. So you can do extracts, really good extracts with it. And it has a really good sweet flavor and texture to it. That said, I mean, I've got a bunch of really good ones. So, like Wolf Bloom, which is actually from Jacob Wolves. It's from Mongolia. That's a really good one. The elderwood is one of my favorites to grow for gourmet, though I haven't had it tested for extracts. I did just breed the elderwood to lion's beard. I just bred it to lion's beard, and I have a series of that going right now. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's the one that I would go for. I'm in the UK. Interesting. Are you guys having any? I know people are really talking about the invasiveness of gold oysters. Is there any of that talk or concern, or are they seeing golds pop up in the wild and out there? And it'd be interesting. Maybe some of the wild or the naturalized golds that people are catching would do you better. All right, let's watch the next piece of video. This is about the bag shaker. All right, so another piece of equipment that I just cannot do without these days. This is the Man of War Thor bag shaker. Let's see if I can get this stuff. Ah! What am I doing? All right, so I want to plug this in. I'm just going to leave the foot pedal right here for now. You turn this on. It's got a fan to cool the motors and stuff down into it. And then you program your timer, just like you would on your Thor bagger. And then you can change. So for instance, foot pedal. There it goes, back down. Now, if you want to see how we can change it, that's what I've got it set on. So we look at it. Okay, that's what I've got set on so I can shake 2 5-pound bags at a time, because I can fit one here and one here. The 10-pound bags I can fit this way. So we'll just hit it. And then I'm going to speed it up. And we're going to slow it way back down because it's about to throw everything on my table. You can slow it down to almost nothing. So if you want to just gently agitate. We've also talked about doing a little thing where you can put liquid culture flasks in here and insert, and then just use this to constantly stir like an orbital table, because you can program it. So in its off hours, it can be used as an orbital shaker. I meant shaker, not table. And in its on hours, you just pull that stuff out. Ugh. And it becomes a bag shaker. I also, when I'm sterilizing plant material, like seeds and stuff in alcohol and or bleach, and it needs to be agitated, I put it in here in like a centrifuge tube and just let it get shaken around, and that agitates it and helps clean all the mold spores and stuff off of it. So what I normally do is I just and the sealer, that's another thing when it comes to bag production. So the shaker and then this sealer in particular, I like this one. I don't have a foot pedal. I mean, I have a foot pedal for this one, but I don't have it hooked up. We have a foot pedal for this one, and Samantha uses it sometimes, but this is my workstation and then Samantha's workstation, and you can see how I just push everything that I have over onto Samantha's side so I can get maximally in her way. But no, I'm just playing. It's just we both work here unless we're both doing a double, which is usually like if we're pulling syringes. If I'm doing plates, I'll sit there and inoculate and pass them off, and then Samantha will write her notes on there, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, for bag production, the bag shaker, this big sealer, it is this one. I don't know if you can get this one from Mushroom Media online or not. Whoa, right, there you go. There's the model number, Impulse Foot Sealer, number AIE 610F0, or is that DA? But I like this one. It's got a nice big wide band, and it has the, magnetic seal, and then the timers, so you can adjust it and get it fine-tuned. And since then, I've not really had bag blowouts be much of an issue. So, uh-oh, that one's fruiting. That's those are breeder blocks up there, except this one's well, that's a top secret block. That's for a project that I'm not open sourcing. A few blocks I gotta get in the grow room. But I'm back. I didn't realize back that fast. Welcome back to my presence. So yeah, that's the bag shaker. And so Jacob, you were asking if Mana War was gonna be featured. You knew Mana War was gonna be featured. Those guys produce crazy good stuff. So they definitely produce crazy good stuff. Love tribbles. They are great. Wish I could post a pic of the ones we ate the other night. Yeah, oh man. It, out of all of my lion's mane strains, you can tell this one has a really good high sugar profile. When it dries in the dehydrator, it dries golden brown. When I make extract out of it, it's like UT Vols orange. There we go. That was a gray hair, man. I'm getting gray, guys. You can't see it as well right here, but when I get in the light, I'm definitely going gray. But but yeah, dude, Tribbles, it's one of my favorite strains. It's sweet. It's got a good profile. The texture's good. It is one of my proudest creations. Oh yeah. Certainly recommend as wide a band as possible for sealers. Yeah, it's since I've moved to that. Is that a 10 millimeter band? 5 millimeter band? No, it's 10. It's 10. The 5 millimeter is that white one sitting next to it. So, yeah, it makes life so much easier. Hey, dude, many thanks from friends. Well, you are very welcome, and thank you, man, for joining us and letting me know that I've been helpful. We have a lot of cool things I hope that we get to share with people. So this is a good chance for me to go ahead and get the next one uploaded, and then we can come to it. Upload that. Oh, I bet I can go ahead and just upload all of them, can't I? Oh, it works. Oh, this is amazing. This is wonderful. Is senescence real? Because I've been growing the same oyster and chestnut strain for years. I don't think I've seen any loss of vigor or anything like that. Senescence is not really real in mushrooms. I mean, it is yes and no. But mushrooms can live for a long time. Like fungus has all kinds of protections against aging. But what you can see is that will affect it like senescence is enzyme blindness. Actually, the person that first introduced that concept to me was Sydney Over Singleton on Facebook many moons ago. The enzyme blindness is just like think mushroom diabetes. So if you feed your mushrooms nothing but sugar, then that creates a lot of, it can create enzyme blindness over the time, which basically where the mushrooms forget how to make like lignase. Shoot, what's the one for cellulose? It's not cellulase. I don't. What is that one? Anyways, it kind of forgets how to produce the enzymes. It switches kind of off the enzymatic pathway for producing these things that it eats, because mushrooms typically go on a substrate void of a lot of available sugars. They have to work for it. So when we put them in sugar water or even grain spawn or agar, that's just sugars, we end up getting a lot of, it's actually really interesting. You see it in liquid culture. Typical liquid culture, even if it grows fast, and you get all these people are always so adamant that hyphal extensions are what you're after. Let me tell you what hyphal extensions are. They're aborts, where your mycelium starts growing and it runs out of vitamins, minerals, whatever. And so it literally aborts it and then starts to catabolize that tissue so it can grow tissue that it's deeming as effective. What you actually want in liquid culture would be long filamentous strands of mycelium. The biomass, all of those can branch. Once they hit substrate, they can branch at different points to create hyphal extensions. So hyphal extensions, at getting the maximum number, is actually not what you want in liquid culture. You want like tufts, big fluffy tufts, and that comes from having the proper vitamin and mineral composition in your media. And so that actually helps with senescence too, because some of those vitamins and minerals we can use to actually tickle the enzymatic pathways. What I mean by that is literally stress the mushrooms out, which is kind of what you want. Every life form actually requires a certain amount of stress to grow properly. So, yeah, that's the big thing. One of the things I taught Jackie and many mentorships is that if you go from liquid culture to grain, from grain to substrate, and then from substrate to mushroom, you can clone that mushroom, and it's at least had solid food the past couple of generations, especially if you're using something like super spawn, which is the mix, the half and half sawdust and grain. Super spawn was the term was coined by David. I'm sorry, David, I can't remember your last name all of a sudden. Who's in our Discord. And I announced that I was working on this stuff, and then he's like, "Yeah, I've been working on that. I've already posted. I told you about it." And I was like, "Oh shoot, really?" And so he'd already named it, and I was like, "Dang it, I don't even get to name it now." Man, awesome equipment. Thank you for showing it and sharing. Absolutely. Well, I've still got more. I've got at least 3 more videos, but I guess I ought to hit another one since we're already like an hour and a half in. Let's see. Let me do another video really quick, and then we'll go from there. Alrighty, so another piece of equipment that I swear by is the Man of War stir plate. This isn't just because he's my friend that makes them, but rather that he made them just for us people. So let's see, what have I got? Here, beach blue. It's forming a pellicle. That's a problem. You got a highly nutritive media here, and we'll just turn it up. Oh, I always find it's best to just kind of loosen that pellicle a little bit, because sometimes it'll just boop, shreds, shred, and we'll just keep going, and I'll just leave it. And I'll replace all these that are starting to grow some pellicles on top. Ooh, the fat man needs to go. Let's get it. I guess I'll go with this one. That fat man one's going to take a little while to suck down, but just go ahead and turn it on, get it going, and you'll see them, they'll do this, and then once they get heavy enough, they just go down. But that has been stirring this 10 liter for a while, this 5 liter, which even then still has some growth, but you have to knock that off, and then it'll suck it down slowly. You can always turn it up a little bit if you need to. Oh, there it goes. Starts going. I was kind of hoping I could show it to you faster. Sometimes I find that if you put them like off to the side, the stir bar, like that, it'll create these weird little vortexes that then grab it a lot easier. But you can see it's starting to ebb and flow. This one's already being chewed into a bunch of pieces. That'll be a fine powder by morning. It's Dr. V's number 3 recipe. What else we got? Oh, King Blue. Put that King Blue right there. Looks like BS26 here has got a pellicle. Give that a little shake just to knock it loose. And yeah, I know, don't judge me. I gotta clean up stuff. I got a lot of plates. It's not even the half of it. Plates. You guys are killing me with the mycologium. Anyways, pretty self-explanatory. Love this thing. The stir plate is the best. Oh, look, that one's already gone. Woo! This one's still hanging on. Oh, it's losing the fight, but it's hanging. These have already been pulled and are grinding away. All right. I don't know why it keeps changing the camera or the view position, but Good afternoon, Mr. Mossy. Hey, Urban, what's going on? Love your videos. They're informative. They're the best, and in my opinion, way better because your videos. I see, and wait, very informative. They're the best, and in my opinion, I'm way better because your videos. Okay. I sent you a race from Atlanta last week. Very cool thing with Michelogenium. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I do have that. I've already expanded it. I've already slanted it. I don't know. I did get your letter. I've handed that off to Samantha a little late. I'm sorry. It was like yesterday, something like that. So it's going to be a few days, but then we'll have your trade in the mail. But dude, that Atlanta reishi grows fast. Like I am surprised at how fast that thing goes. So, yeah, that's super cool. I think. Are you sure that it's what you think it is? Because I was wondering if that might be Kurtzai, the way it's growing so fast. Um, Do you have to wrestle with Samantha for free space? Will we see a fencing duel, scalpels? No fencing duel with scalpels. No, Samantha and I. It's kind of like back in the old Viking days. You dig a hole. I have to get in the hole and put one arm in it, and then I can fight with one arm, and then Samantha gets to run freely and just beat me, right? So, no, if Samantha wants space, these days I used to fight Samantha. I mean, not these days. I used to fight Samantha really bad on like I don't want to clean up, and I don't care if it's messy and blah blah blah. You can see how clean Samantha's space is, right? And this right here is a wreck of a nightmare, but it's my space, so it can be a wreck. But if Samantha wants clean space, I am now 100% behind her. So, like she gets my full support because it's just when Samantha wants something, it usually makes our life better. So, my first blue oyster strain seemed weak and took almost a month to colonize my bags from spawn from the original syringe. After growing in my LC, it colonized the bags in only 10 to 12 days. Well, you may have had some better nutrition in that LC, or what they sent you. I don't know if it was me or not, so I hope it wasn't me. They may have had it sitting for too long. Some people let liquid culture sit and sit and sit, and you can't really let it sit unless you syringe it and cap it, and then you can let it sit for a while because it's basically Castellini storage at that point. But even then, it still needs to wake up. So maybe what you got was something that needed to wake up, and then as it woke up, it started running faster and better. And then your LC allowed it to have a lot of nutrition to just, even if it was just, like sugar water, waking up and then having that buffet available allows it to get into a anabolic state, which is a growth state, rather than a catabolic state, which is a self-pruning phase, you might think of it. Do you think LC to bulk will reach a point of comparative valuability with our systems? Yes. Yes, I do. It's already happening. It will be the future of mushroom growing, probably in the States. But it's already used pretty extensively in China, Korea, Japan. There's farms in Germany and Finland and Poland, I think, that all do shiitake blocks, liquid culture to bulk. I'm finding that Hericium, reishi, turkey tail, enoki, shiitake, they all take liquid culture to bulk super easy. Oysters, some of them take really well, some of them don't. I find a lot of the commercial varieties don't take as well, as you might imagine. When given proper nutrition and their enzymatic pathways are turned on, it takes better. So part of it's the liquid culture nutrition. You want the enzymes already producing as if they're on a solid medium. And when I say solid medium, I mean a complex to eat medium. But yes, I think it's coming. I think it's already happening. It's spread widespread in the cordyceps and cubensis world. I think that Hericium, like I said, will be a big one. And then reishi farms. So now here's my question. I want to start putting peptone in my LC, and I want to start messing with cordyceps. The recipe I got for cordyceps calls for soy peptone. I can double the use and put in LC2. You can put peptone in LC, absolutely. That's part of even my Dr. Solarian's recipe has peptone in it. It's not the only thing in it, but peptone absolutely will support because it basically provides the nitrogen amino acids that the mushrooms can use. So even just adding peptone, it will make your stuff grow a lot faster. It's interesting that soy peptone was in a solid medium. But that makes sense to me if you want something easily, readily available. But again, I don't know why people just don't grow on bugs. You can order, like, if you're in the States, you can order from Flukers. I'm sure that there's other places in whatever countries there are that are producing mealworms and stuff. Mealworms are a complete food. Like, you just add liquid culture. You can do it to them alive. I don't suggest that. I felt really bad after I did that, because as soon as that cordyceps liquid culture touched them, like as soon as they touched it, they were like, they freaked out. And I was like, oh my God, I feel like a sadist now that I have done this to a living organism. And over the period of days, every joint and piece of soft tissue, those little ring segments they had between every ring, with a little fuzz would start growing and they would start to slow down. It felt terrible. So freeze them first and then put it to them. I think is the best way to go. What do you think about the very large scale exotic mushroom farms? Well, Archie, I mean, I don't really have. I mean, I have opinions. Um, I guess I'm wanting to know on what aspect of it that you're wanting me to comment on. Um, the biggest one that I know of failed pretty hard. That's the one that uh, Joey worked on, and I get it didn't fail, but it failed as that farm. T.R. Davis worked on that farm. They had really bad, rampant neurospora outbreaks, which caused it because they were trying to do like a bed agriculture of oysters and shiitake and things. I don't know everything on this, so you have to take everything I say with a grain of salt. But then I think when they have that problem, T.R. Davis came up and helped them get some of it figured out. But then it just was so rampant. I think they actually they bought a agaricus farm, tried to do specialties. It's like an $8 million farm or something like that. Doc Holliday was involved in it, some other investors. They ended up turning it back over to agaricus, got it where it was producing profit, and then sold the farm. That was the largest I know of. But then you got places like Shogun. And so it kind of depends. Like exotic mushroom farms like Hen of the Woods, shiitake, things like that. I think those are perfect for large farms because they tend to have good shelf life. You need a lot of space to produce them. These places have either a lot of automation or cheap labor sources. So it's good for those kind of mushrooms that are going to be traveling through the distribution system. Oysters are a lot harder, but I think, and I've heard this from other people, but the Dutch flower industry distribution system, the logistics behind the Dutch flower systems, I think could really lean us into having the bigger farms work better for these low shelf life mushrooms. But we'll see. We'll see if that happens. For now, what I'm hoping for is that we'll have larger block providers, spawn providers, that kind of stuff that are more centralized by region, and then a lot of small farms. In fact, what I want to see is mushroom farming made so easy, at least on certain scales, maybe not every mushroom, but on especially the very low shelf life mushrooms that are really high value, like oysters. I would love to see those guys buying blocks in. Like it'd be so easy that like produce farmers can do it, where they don't have to learn a whole new system. They can just build a grow room, receive blocks, or at the very least, just a block production mechanism or infrastructure, and then a fruiting room. And that I think would help a lot. So, but that's kind of what I think. If there's a aspect of it that you wanted me to comment on that I didn't hit, just let me know. Oof, I need them plates, dude. They're fantastic. Like again, it's like an essential piece of equipment for me these days. Interesting, mushroom diabetes. So how should I keep my mother culture slants? Like that only sees agar. Do I change the formula or what? Sometimes it goes a year before I do. If you're going back to slant, that's why you're not seeing senescence, is because you keep going back to slant. And no, I think for the slants, I would just say, just keep going back to them. I keep my slants on sugar agar. It's the spore kindler formula, so it's got more stuff in it. But I've got slants that are 5 or 6 years old that still pull just fine. So you also have the Castellini method, which is something I'm doing now, is where I'm doing slants and Castellini. Castellini is just storage of the biomass in sterile water. But you can actually use your liquid culture. So if you take a liquid culture jar, and we're going to talk about that here in a second, or I'm going to show a video that'll explain how I do this. But you pull the whole jar, and then we'll save some syringes from that pool. So a 500 milliliter jar will yield 45 to 50 10 milliliter syringes. And then once that jar is out of sugar, like once the growth pretty much stabilizes or has stopped and it's just become stable, you're now void of nutrition practically. So when you pull those syringes and cap them, you've created a Castellini slant. So that's kind of what I like to do is I store in slant, and then I store in these, like what I call these Castellini syringes. So, in fact, I can just go ahead and show that. All right. Another piece of equipment that I swear by, Peristaltic pump. Actually, I need to move this shelf out of the way so I can get this on the table for y'all. But here is the Peristaltic pump that I have. Now, you don't always need one like this, but the main thing about a Peristaltic pump is that it has these rollers, and they will roll. You can put a piece of tubing in here, and that way this pump can literally, like an esophagus, like our esophagus, it can pull liquids and things from one container to another, or from one place to another, without letting that liquid touch the pump. So you can literally take, here's one of ours. Like these are just one of our hoses cut with lure lock barb fittings. So you have that. I usually cap one side. Syringe will go into this. So this is the syringe will go on that side. That'll connect to one of these heads here. So this is some agar that's been pre-cooked. I actually way overcooked this batch, and yeah, even I believe you can overcook stuff occasionally, but this was at 124 Celsius, so it was quite hot. But you can see what I have here is a draw tube. Oh, you can see what I have here is a draw tube that goes down right there. You can kind of see it right there. And that draw tube will connect to this hose, which will then come through the pump. And then we can calibrate our pump, and I can literally use this to fill plates, so I can pump hot agar from one vessel to another, which that being the plates. I think Samantha poured like 200 the other day in like 30 to 40 minutes. So it makes it easy, and it becomes standard. You get the same amount of agar into every single plate. One of the other cool things that a lot of people don't realize is that you can actually hook this up. And so what I do is I make these heads. I don't know if I have one that's already ready to go. Well, okay, so we make these heads, we call them extractor heads. We make these, and then you can put them into a unicorn bag with a little sprinkling of water, seal them up, and then you just autoclave them alongside your tubing and whatever else you need to autoclave. So, like when I'm doing my agar, and then I'll have these little baggies that have like, I have quart jar sized, I have half gallon jar sized, and I even have full gallon jar sized ones, extractor heads. And then I can literally draw, or from these guys, I can connect that Peristaltic pump hose to the vessel and then to a syringe. And what I'll do is I'll put the syringe on, tap the foot pedal, and it'll push liquid into the syringe, and the syringe will literally, you'll see it go up automatically, and it becomes an automatic syringe filler. And what we do is we drain the whole jar, typically. So like one of those jars that's almost ready, like especially one of those, we'll put an extractor head on it in the flow hood. Oh, right here's one. Here's an extractor head. But we'll take the extractor head, we'll put it at the flow hood, put it on the jar that we're trying to extract of liquid culture, syringe all of them, do our liquid culture test and screening through the microscope, And then we come right over here to like Rifle Creek oyster. And there we have our stock. That's already been tested. There's our pink. So, looks like we need to stock some others, but that Peristaltic pump makes agar pouring and liquid culture pulling. So pulling and pouring makes it really easy. All right. I love that Peristaltic pump. It is one of my, again, essential pieces of equipment. Has made my life so much easier since then. Also, would you be interested in a chicken of the woods? Yes, absolutely. From the prairies of Canada. But I've been collecting more wild specimens from here. Absolutely. I will take pretty much everything that's edible or medicinal. I will take a bit of. Hey, Ben. So, absolutely. I have a page on my website, just mycologium. It's got instructions for sending stuff, but I mean, you can literally just mail me the culture. Let me know what you want to swap it out for. Just check my website and just tell me which strain you'd like. I will trade strain for strain. In fact, we probably need to do. Oh no, I removed the mycologium somehow. My commercial for it. So for now, we'll just go into the other one. Hey folks, welcome to another sponsorship for the Mushroom Cast. We're always talking about dialing in your grow setup, and when it comes to humidity, there's one name we trust, House of Hydro. These foggers are an absolute game changer for mushroom cultivation. House of Hydro's ultrasonic humidifiers put out an incredibly fine, cool mist. So fine, in fact, that mycelium can actually uptake it straight from the air. That means better hydration, better growth, happier mushrooms, and better yields. And let me tell you, these things are way easier to vent around your op than setting up full-on plumbing pressure systems. No pipes, no hassle, just perfect humidity right where you need it. And when you're working with the best, you want the best support. John at House of Hydro takes care of his customers better than anyone in the game. If you ever need help, they've got you covered. And because House of Hydro is sponsoring the Mushroom Cast, we've got a deal for you. Use code Mossy at checkout, and you'll get a full set worth of free replacement discs with your order. It's up to a $50 value. Get yourself a House of Hydro fogger. Your mushrooms will thank you. Keep spawning culture, y'all. So there you go. Do what? You all right? You dying? She's dying over there. Like the only thing the mycelium sees is agar, grain, sub, more or less. Well, yeah, but if you're going right back to the slant, then you've gone back to a younger, older culture. Mushrooms are weird, so they age not really by just sitting there, so to speak. But the way I liken it is like, we age because our cells are being replaced and the telomeres get shorter with every, repetition. But the mycelium grows in a linear fashion. So what's back here is kind of younger, even though it's older. But because it's the cell replications going this way, they age that way. So the oldest part, or the most aged part, would be the parts on the very end. But if you keep going back to the center, which is your slant, then you can just keep going back to a younger culture. And senescence doesn't tend to build up that way, or at least very quickly. And you can keep a strain, if you keep going back to slant, you can keep a strain fresh for ages. So does sawdust in the LC help? It depends on what you're trying to do, but sawdust in the LC can help activate certain enzymatic pathways. But sawdust, even like a sawdust powder, like we used to blend the sawdust up and then sift it for the powder and then add that. And I've done that a bunch of times, but it is not as effective as it is. It makes the pump really hard to pull the LC. It makes it even harder by hand to pull the LC because the chunks get caught up in your needles. So the extractor heads make it that easier, but then trying to get it back out through the needle is a little bit harder. So I don't tend to like sawdust because the sawdust clumps so much. What I like to add is like water soluble stuff, so that it stays free-ish and easy to pull. I've had some vibrant orange mold recently, Neurospora. I'm guessing it's summertime. You usually see it. Should I freak out like compared to trike? I don't even freak out with trike. Like if a bag, like a lot of times if I see trike, but I see good clean mycelium growing alongside the trike, I just leave the bag, and usually the mycelium will overgrow the trike, and you'll get your clusters will fruit just fine. With Neurospora, I immediately throw Neurospora away. Unfortunately for Wind River, they had Neurospora was so bad because they were growing large beds. So when Neurospora would hit, it would take over the bed fast because Neurospora grows fast. Hello, Ben. Bye-bye, Ben. Hey, we've already gone over the bag cracker, the Thor stir plates, the bagger, and the shaker. So he's giving a thumb. Well, you can't see it because of the logo, but yeah. The moment I pulled this live stream up, Jacob, before I even got on, was like, "Oh, is Man of War going to be featured?" I was like, "Yeah, Man of War is going to be featured." Yep. What are you grabbing there? They're what? For the flow hoods? Yeah, you guys may not know, but I guess are you selling those under Man of War, or are you selling those under Lab Rats? So it's just Lab Rats. Okay. So yeah, they it will change. Okay. So yeah, Man of War bought Lab Rats, and they've been producing hoods. So they've got some really cool like 3D printed models. They're working on the wooden models and getting the wooden models back because I don't know those who don't know Lab Rats. I forgot his name. The guy that used to own it hurt his back, and he had a hard time doing the big pieces. So, but yeah, as far as Neurospora goes, Wind River had that because it would hit and it would expand across the bed. But where we grow in bags, Neurospora is not really a problem. If you see it, throw it out. It will spread, and it can spread like wildfire. But thankfully, where we grow in a modular system, each bag is a module. You can just throw that module out that's contaminated, and then hopefully it doesn't spread. And good, strong sterilization practices will help. But you'll always see it in the summertime, I feel like, at least to some degree, even if it's just in your compost pile. But it likes heat. The Peristaltic pump, the one I've got was expensive, but it's programmable and everything else. You can get a dosing pump for as little as like $30 on Amazon. If you want one that's more programmable, it's going to cost you more. I think mine cost us it's somewhere between $500 and $700. Is that right? I think $7. Okay, somebody said it was $7. So ours cost $700, but you don't have to go that way. In fact, I way overbought. I could have gone with something much less. I don't even need that level of programmability. The more expensive pumps will dose faster, though, too. They'll have a better flow rate, and sometimes a wider range of hoses that you can use. So, what's that? She said it also has a better pump and motor, like reverse, because our pump will reverse. I think the dosing pumps won't reverse, but ours will. You can just press a button. So like if a syringe overfills or underfills, you can reverse it, hit the foot pedal, it'll pull back out of the syringe, and then you can readjust your dosage, hit that button again so the flow goes back the other way. Works great. And again, you can go fairly cheap or you can go fairly expensive. I'm about to get a bunch of cheap ones for my temporary immersion bioreactors for the plants. So are you familiar with Paul, his channel Fungi? I'm familiar with Fungi. I didn't know his name was Paul. In his latest video, he showed all the available methods of preserving genetics. I'll have to check that out. I haven't watched much of it. Honestly, I haven't watched very many other mushroom YouTubers recently. I've been so busy with just doing my own work and putting out my own stuff that the only one that I've really watched much of is Ed Grand, and that's just whenever I see he's on a live stream, I'll jump on and play him in the background while I'm working. But Ed's about the only one that I've really watched recently. I've gone back and I've watched some Mushroom Mesa with Mike Crabtree. I just recently watched some Mushroom Wonderland. And I'm trying to think of what else. that's really pretty much it. I need to do some more. That was actually something I was going to start doing more on these streams. Would be like pulling one up, watching a video along with you guys, and then just talking interspace through it, so that it's fair use. Number one, but also number two, to give my own opinion on their systems. And I've just not done those. So maybe we can do that next week. Maybe I can pull up his and then talk about his different preservation methods that he's showing, and show which ones I like and why I like them, and which ones I don't like and why I don't like them, that kind of thing. That'd be pretty neat. You'd love to see him as a guest on your stream? I think his channel's bigger than mine. I'm not sure. But a lot of times when guys get bigger than me, they don't necessarily want to go on a smaller channel. Fungi, he's not. His is a little smaller than mine. So I don't know. We'll see how easy he is to reach out to. Let's see. He's got the Mushroom Culture Library Preserving Genetics 2 weeks ago. That's a 2-hour video. My goodness. Oh, it looks like he may have even done one on a peristaltic pump, but it looks like he may have done a retro pump, like with toggles and stuff, which I love toggles. That's okay. That's an interesting one. I'll have to look at that. But yeah, that's I'll see what I can do. Maybe he'll come on, maybe he won't. I need to get some more guests lined up. I just hadn't been ready to do them until recently. Yeah, absolutely, Micro. I'm happy to answer questions. I cannot find my Mycologium sponsor video, which sucks because that's one of the most important sponsorships for me. Let's see if I can maybe file folder, search, documents. There we go. Location. It's in my current video one. Oh, hey. I don't know. I had Spotify running in the background. That's super fun. Hey, there's the Mycologium commercial. Okay, cool. So I'll be able to re-upload that. But yeah, man, you're absolutely always very welcome. I am happy that I can help people. And it froze. When I closed that out, it froze. My screen's gonna go black, and then I'm gonna come back. There we go. So yeah, I don't understand. Apparently, when I stopped Spotify, I started getting the freeze again. So super cool. Don't know what that's about. Okay, so we'll get this sponsorship uploaded again so I can play it later. But you are very welcome. Okay, while that's uploading, I'll go through some other stuff. I think I managed to plate out some crown tip corals and wild enokis. Had to verify it is clean without having to go through too many plates. Can't afford agar at the moment. Whale fruiting would be the only way. Like, you can, with crown tip coral, what I find is if I just leave it on the dish for a while, it'll fruit in the dish. Enoki too. Enoki will always, especially around the dish edges, it'll start to get the color. So if it's like a wild enoki, it's probably typically a golden enoki, and that will create like this golden ring around the edges of the dish where it's getting airflow, and sometimes it'll fruit in the dish. And I always like it when strains fruit in the dish because it usually means that they're going to fruit pretty well in cultivation. So, all right, let's go to the next piece of equipment. Hello, kitty. Yeah, weird. Let's see if I can try that again. Okay. I might have to reload that one. It did not seem like it's liking what's going on. All right. Let's try that again. Okay, so one more piece of equipment I want to go over, and it's all over my op, but the rolling rack. This is like my favorite thing ever. The rolling rack is king. I use these for everything that I can possibly use them. They're in my walk-in, they're in my lab, they hold plants, which those plants desperately need to be divided. They hold blank blocks, they hold my incubation, and even my fruiting now is primarily done on rolling racks just for the ease of it, since I'm no longer commercially growing mushrooms, and I only need a few of them, which even then, if I was to build a grow room today, I would just spend the money on the rolling racks, because the PVC and wood is great for trying to save money, but these are ideal for being convenient. Let's see, starting to build up some bubblage. Tell you what, this one's doing such a good job. Let's see what we can do here. Oh, there we go. Okay. I'll just let that go. But yeah. All right. So the rolling rack. Rolling rack is king. Makes my life so much easier. All right. So I did not make it yet. Oh, that's not the right one. So this code is going to be live later, but your all's code for today's show for the next week, again, it'll be this afternoon when it goes live, like after the live stream. I apologize for not having it ready, but you can save 20% site-wide on Equip 20. That works on mentorships. That works on everything except the Thor stuff, because like the Thor stir plates that I have a mandatory minimum I have to make, and 20% would eat up every bit of profit and then some I've got. So, but everything except the stir plates, that'll work on. It'll work on the spore kindler formula, any of the premixes, our genetics. It works on spawn, mentorships. If you need to do a consult, which I need to get the consult mentorship page back up, and our bulk packs will need to go back up this week is what I'm working on. That's the page I'm working on currently. So Equip 20, EQUIP, all capital, 20, save 20% site-wide for Mossy Creek mushroom stuff. So them syringes black. Oh, you're talking about they're not black, they're green. That was those were Green Elf Cup. Those were Green Elf Cup. And it's, you see how my premix makes them produce pigment so green they look black. So that's one of the reasons why I started going with these premixes, is because of how well they turn on the enzymatic profile. Even in fact, I've had to warn some of these guys that are doing the psilocybin testing for me, because if they're selling liquid cultures instead of spore syringes, I'm like, oh, this may open up enzymatic pathways that create create actual testable psilocybin in the syringes, and that may make your product illegal. So, because it's legal. Some of these guys are selling liquid culture of psilocybin varieties legally because it doesn't contain a testable, or at least it contains a low testable amount that falls below the line there. But yeah, so we'll see. Sweet, I'm gonna grab another strain. Heck yeah, man, 20% off. Just give me a little bit of time to get that up. So, and I will have it. As soon as I get done with the live stream, I will go and immediately put that on there. So, but sweet. So we've gone through the equipment. That's pretty much all the equipment I wanted to go through for the day. Those were the pieces that I basically we were standardized on, and we use. I mean, there's all kinds of other equipment we could talk about. From, I mean, like you can see the scales that we use, the commercial scales, and there's a bunch of tiny pieces just all over the place that are wonderful. But again, I don't necessarily have time to go over every single one of them, or the memory to remember all of them. But those pieces are the ones that save me money and time every day, or at least every week, which means every day. And then I have, actually that's it on the videos that I've got. So we have, a bunch of different things that I've been playing around with the AI, but none of them are really relevant to what we're working on today. I do have the somebody was asking about the bottle culture. I've been using the cups a lot, but I've been using the cups in part. Let's see if I can get this to load up and show maybe the pouring of the cups we have. See if I can get this to work on the fly. All right, so what's nice about those cups is that they will actually, if they're in the sleeve and the sleeve is unopened, they're already sterile. So you can actually just pour straight into those. And so for the plants, it's easy because you can just pour the layer of agar, wash and sterilize your seeds or explant material and put them in there, and then they will just multiply on those cups. But yeah, those are super useful for anything that you want to grow up. I've actually been considering trying to create a fruiting substrate slurry and then see if they'll grow in the cups. So, all right, Jacob, man, you have a good night as well. Thank you. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot healthier, man. Feeling really good. The magnesium has helped a lot. Weightlifting helps a lot. I need to get the sauna back going so I can be doing the sauna every day, but I have let the boiler kind of sit with the elements not being so great. But speaking of, I think I'm going to play another sponsorship. I'll give you guys a chance to have to add any questions that you have to the chat. And then if I get back and we get through the questions, I'm probably going to go ahead and end it. So since I've been at it for a couple hours. But let's see what we got here. Imagine a world where the most unique, rare, and powerful mushroom strains are preserved, studied, and shared with growers like you. That's exactly what we're building with the Mycologium, a living archive of fungal biodiversity, sourced from the wild, expanded in the lab, and made available for researchers, growers, and curious minds alike. But here's the best part. You can be a part of it. If you're a bioprospector, a forager, or just someone who loves finding cool mushrooms in the wild, you can send in your samples. If you send me in a wild mushroom and I can successfully clone it, I'll send you back a cleaned up culture of it. If you send me a culture that you've already cleaned up yourself, I'll send you one for our library, ready to grow, experiment with, or add to your collection. That's right. Culture for culture. You help expand the library, and you get something amazing in return. The goal? To preserve fungal diversity, to give people access to new genetics, and maybe, just maybe, to discover something truly groundbreaking. So if you've got an interesting mushroom, a rare find, or a strain that deserves a place in the archives, send it in. Let's build something incredible together. The Mycologium, preserving fungal biodiversity, one culture at a time. Want to learn more? Hit us up, shoot us a message, and let's keep spawning culture, y'all. Excellent, excellent. Mycologium, it's my passion project. I'm after polypores in particular. Turkey tails, polypores, reishi, chicken of the woods, hen of the woods, any polypore you find, even if we don't know what it is, I will clone it. We'll get it DNA tested later to find out what it is, but I will definitely try. So, could you quickly sum up contaminated agar cleanup methods? I know for bacteria, there's agar sandwich, trench, trapdoor, etc., but what about mold? Is it just cut from the leading edge and pray? So if you have a dish and it's got mold, you can absolutely save it. It does require a little bit of work, typically more than bacteria. So one of the reasons why I'm working on this culture cleanup premix, it is designed specifically to try to starve bacteria and mold and allow access for white rot fungi. So it is a white rot fungi cleanup. It's not necessarily made for everything. But any of that stuff should hopefully reduce the rate at which mold can grow. But one of the big things is if you've got mold, what I would do is I take my plate. I do not work with it in the HEPA filter. I take it to an open air area that has very still air. And then I very slowly unwrap the dish. A lot of times I'll work with it upside down. And then I'll pick it up very slowly, and with a scalpel that's been flame sterilized, I will quickly cut that out. Take another dish that's a clean dish that's upside down, and then just put the agar on there, close the dish up, wrap it in parafilm, and then what you want to do is just move very slow, try not to disturb the mold, and then you want to transfer, and then as soon as you see growth, transfer again, and then transfer again, and like basically you just want to keep it running, 2 or 3 transitions or transfers out, and then basically what that allows you to do is hopefully outrun the mold. And then hopefully not have anything that may have mold spores, the mycelium on the wedge or whatever. You want to, as soon as you see growth, like I'll see growth, it'll be tiny. I'll literally grab that dish and like hold my fingers and make a tiny little sliver cut. Or like I'll do a triangle. It's like, say you get your mycelium growing here, and it's just a tiny little bit. You can do a triangle and cut into that leading edge. And who cares if you grab a big wedge of agar that doesn't have anything growing on it, as long as you can get that little tip, and then that little tip will allow it to grow in every which way. And that's really how I would do with when I have mold issues, how I would pull from that. And of course, growing with the mycologium, we get all kinds of dirty samples from the wild, and they require mold cleanup. So I've actually gotten really, really quite good at it with a little bit of practice, slow, meticulous movements. If you're one of those people that can't help but talk or sing or whatever, wear a mask. Which in front of a hood, I don't typically wear a mask, but if, sometimes I might if I'm doing the open air, just so I'm not breathing big clouds of mold, spore. Like you work in the grow room, and if you breathe any of that in, you might be breathing oyster mushroom spores and stuff out, that kind of stuff. So just working with it that way. Absolutely, Michael. Thank you for joining us, Ogre. Just curiosity. Sometimes I notice what I think are spore stalactites hanging from the gills. Any idea what caused those? It's not going. Yeah, that's typically I see it's an ionic charge thing. The spore sickles. It's literally spores that are basically charged, so they kind of clump and collect each other. A lot of people don't realize this, but spores will have an ionic charge when they come out of the mushroom. It's one of the ways that allows them to like basically float, is that they're able to be repelled by certain things, but also certain spores will sometimes that are compatible will have ionic charges to bring them together. I mean, not necessarily in the air or whatever, but it's one of those things where it will make them stick, and that's one of the reasons why an ionizer is so good at pulling spores out of the air too. Like you can really put an ionizer in, and it can help grab spores and pull them to a surface so that you can wipe it clean. I used to run an ionizer in the lab when I wasn't working in there. I haven't done that in some time just because it's not necessary, but it's a good way to do that, is to use that ionic charge against them. But Dune, what's going on? You signing on? Or at least I assume you're just signing on, but just in time for me to be signing off. I appreciate everyone joining me today. It's been a great stream. It's kind of cool doing it earlier in the day to have the evening free even. So that'll be pretty slick. As far as everything else goes, if you all don't forget to use that code, the 20% off. We got a lot of cool things, equipment, genetics, extracts, etc. So don't forget to like and subscribe for me, please. That really helps the channel out. And as always, y'all, keep spawning culture.
Yo, Andrew in the lab coat, lantern, jaw, shadow, microscope, halo, petri dish tableau, stir plate cyclone, liquid gold whirlpool, feeding spore scripture through the culture school. Samantha with the steady hand, razor like a plan, shaves a sliver off the egger like a desert wind can. Jars clink, hymns when the shelf choir hums, every lid's a sealed drum where mycelium comes. Keep spawning culture, roots in the rust belt soil, turn dust into kingdom with the clean room toil. From the block to the plate to the LC shine, every strand's got a story in the Mossy Creek mine. Yo, Mad Hat Hatchery, pink oysters tap dance, lion's mane maneuvers with a hairy